Hello, this is Jameson, and I just want to show you guys where I put the resources for NUR1006 as I kind of move out of course coordination for this class. If you go to the SharePoint, I made a NUR1006 folder, and I colored it blue since we are the blue semester. But in here, I have everything kind of labeled for what you kind of need it for. So in the class, you will find the orientation, both the clinical orientation and the class orientation PowerPoint. I also usually do this MedPass activity the first day of class just to kind of dust off any cobwebs and let them kind of, work through taking care of a patient. And then each of the units has each of the different information. Robin, if you want to use this, you can. You don't have to. But Christine, you'll notice that Robin's folders will be empty, whereas the content that you're taking over is filled with all of my stuff. Again, this is all available in the My Courses shell as well. But if you want to edit the document, here is the actual document itself. All of the PowerPoints for that section, as well as all of the active learning strategies I did. A couple of them I made actual lesson plans for that kind of go over like how long to spend on each activity, just as a general rule. And so those are all of the classes. This would be the guided reading document that you guys would share together. So if you need to update any page numbers, like if you're going to a different edition, or let's say you're changing something up and you want them to read something more on liver or endocrine or whatnot, this is the document that you would change and then upload into the course. If you go back to the NUR1006 folder, that was all the class information. I also have all the clinical information in here. I did separate all the care plan stuff in here. So there's these PDF examples. These are examples that Robin and I wrote out of both physical issues as psychosocial issues. This might be something that you want to bring into clinical orientation since the students seem to struggle with this. I also have the care plan that's blank, but I also have this one with notes. This was something that one of our clinical instructors, Marie O'Connell, came up with, and I think the students really liked having this actual description on here, so it's up to you guys as to whether you want to use that one or if you want to use the blank one to allow for the clinical instructors to kind of take it their own route. And then there's also the rubric to help with grading. This definitely is helpful for the clinical instructors to kind of give them an idea of what they're looking for while they're grading those care plans. But there's the clinical packet. I did change the pre-care worksheet to just include both the medication document and the clinical lab and diagnostic trends sheet. That way, we had a couple of issues with students just doing the pre-care and forgetting those separate sheets. So instead of having 3 different documents that the students have to remember to do, I figure just add it all into one document. Makes it a little easier for them. This is the new clinical skills checklist that I created for them. Again, it just is a little bit more user-friendly than I think the previous one was, and has updated verbiage. Let's see here. This is the clinical evaluation form. The only thing that you need to update on this is just the spring or fall aspect. I already put fall 2024 since that's what we're moving into. This is the one that's also available on Google Drive if you guys need it. This is the student feedback form that we give to the clinical instructors to give to the students on the last day of class. So that they fill out on both their clinical instructor and the site. And then this is an at-home clinical makeup assignment that I'll use. So the Jamila Shaw simulation can make up 1 day of clinical, and then this makeup assignment can make up another day of clinical for students. So that's why I say they can't miss more than 2 days because that's all that we have. So again, you guys can change the due date. I usually do it for the day after their final exam. That way it doesn't mess with their ability to study for the final exam, and they have that like one Tuesday off between 10:06 and 10:50. And then we can do emailing the assignment to Christine if we're taking over for course coordination for that. So that's all the clinical forms that you'll need. And I know Robin's kind of thinking of taking over clinical, like clinical coordination. So you guys can kind of split that up as need be. Here are all the syllabi from previous generations. So if you guys want to check and see like what sort of changes we've made over the time, you can definitely take over that. I even put in Julie's from when I first started here. So again, if you kind of just want to look at the history of 106 to 1006 and the changes that we made, you guys can find that in there. And then in simulation, I put in any sort of information that I had for simulation. So here is our simulation objectives. These, I honestly just seriously made these up based off of our 8 peaks. And you'll see that quite a few of the simulations have information that our students, you know, all of these simulations are linked to quite a few of our outcomes for the students. So let's see here. And so each of these simulations, I have the setup document. This is the one that I would give to Valerie. This kind of tells her what she needs to know, how many mannequins, what the mannequins need on them, and then if there's any medications, what medications they need. And so you'll see for Jamila Shaw, since this is the one that's a makeup simulation, you'll see that I just have 1 mannequin per 2 students. So it just depends on how many students you have that need a makeup that are going to do this assignment. So same with the medications. It really just depends how many we need, depending on how many students are actually in the simulation itself. So that should be all the information you guys need from me to start taking over 1006. Please let me know if you have any questions. And that's about it. Thanks.